So we're gonna comp out 3901 West Elkhorn in Visalia. It's actually my house, but it's a good one. It's in a subdivision. There's some adjustments that we can make. And I'm gonna teach you guys how to comp and make the adjustments like an appraiser does. Because they don't do it price per square foot. You can't take a smaller house and take the price per square foot and times it by a larger house. It does not work. It won't work. What they do is they make adjustments based on, they try and get as close as they can, but then the adjustments are a smaller price per square foot because
That smells my dog's on me.
sit down. Sit down. So then you've got to adjust by because it's probably living area that they're adjusting for. You can also adjust for bedrooms. You can also adjust for bathrooms. But we'll go through it and I'll show you how to do it. So the first thing you want to do is get all the specs on your subject property. So
Where do you normally pull a house's specs when you're not, when you don't know your own house?
Yeah.
Let's say someone
from
else.
that
Where will
first
you
down,
pull?
first down, or
So we're gonna show people RPR is where you're gonna pull the information.
RPR.
So
Since
you
we're
can
not using
access,
first down anymore.
you can access RPR
Yeah.
from your Flex on the menu section. When you scroll down to the bottom, you have these cool products. For those that missed yesterday's training, we went over some of these cool products. So catch the video to catch up on it. We're gonna go to RPR. And we're gonna type in the address to get the specs of the property. Now you also wanna ask the client in case if public records has the wrong information.
Right,
Because
you want to
sometimes they
verify the information with the clients. Clients, most of the time, some of them know what their square footage is, but most of them don't. I know, it's 17. It's not 17. It's
What's the address?
13. 3901 West Elkhorn, ELKHORN. Okay.
Gunner's old truck.
Oh yeah, there's Gunner's old truck. So they're saying it's worth 460 right now. I never go off of this because they don't make adjustments. This is just all done of algorithms, things that have sold, you don't know. So we're 2276 square feet, a 6,700 square foot lot. It's a 4-bedroom, 3-bath. It has a pool and a 3-car garage. The kitchen is really upgraded. So are the bathrooms. I went in and I've done the bathrooms. All new flooring, carpet. So
And
artificial grass in the back, owned solar.
and your bill is 06.
Yeah, built in 06. It says 2-car garage, that's incorrect, it's 3.
See?
So
Why
you
you
have
gotta
to be
verify?
careful on some of these things, they give you the wrong info.
And when you look at the photo, you see it too.
Right, you can see, it's a 3-car garage right there. Okay, so you get your subject, that's the first thing that you wanna do. Then we're gonna do a radius search on TCMLS.
So we're gonna do a quick search and we're gonna make sure we're under residential. Right here, if you're doing something different, you click on here to change it from residential to something else. The way to do a radius search, which we learned this yesterday, you get this little push pin right here at the bottom right-hand corner. It's a red one. You're gonna type in the address. What's the address again?
3901.
3901.
It's up there.
There we go. And we locate, and so it takes us pin drop as to where we're at. We're gonna say use this location. How big of a radius do we do, Sarah?
Let's start with a half a mile.
So we're gonna select radius search here. It's gonna auto-populate with 1 mile, so we're gonna change that to half a mile.
So we
So
want to start out with
0.5.
the smallest radius that we can, because those are gonna be, an appraiser is not gonna overlook something that's 2 doors down. Even if it's like, oh, we don't like that, they can't, if it fits the parameters. So we'll start with a half, and if that doesn't work, we'll go out to a mile. Okay, so we're gonna go to pendings and closed.
Wait, hold up one. How do you get to the radius search?
Yeah.
Oh, this red pin right here. Click on that.
On the bottom right-hand corner.
Teach them how to get their rhyme set.
So right here in the bottom right-hand corner, you click that red push
How did you
pin.
get to that screen, Jackie?
Oh, you went for a quick search. So we're gonna go back home. I'm gonna go back to Flex Home. So when you first log into your Flex, you're gonna go up here to quick search. You're gonna make sure you're under residential or whatever type of property you're doing. You're gonna go down here to the bottom right-hand corner. There is a push pin button. Click on the push pin.
Is everybody there?
No.
If you're, no?
Yep.
Well, we're gonna wait. We'll wait for you. Rebecca, are you there?
Yeah.
Dosser? Right?
Do we need the zip code?
Okay.
No.
What's your zip code?
You got it, right? Okay.
As long as you have the city and state, you're good.
Okay, so you're gonna put in the address. And I act like I can train you on this, but I don't know the radius search. I just learned it 5 minutes ago, so. But I'm
And I learned it
like-
yesterday.
But I'm pretending like I know. So then you click on that.
Okay, click on use this location.
Use this
Yes.
location, and then we're gonna hit radius search. And we're gonna change that to 0.5 to get half a mile. And we're gonna hit create the radius. So then make our circle,
5 miles, did you say?
no, 0.5,
Oh, 0.5.
half a mile.
Create
Okay.
radius.
So let us know when everybody's there.
What's the address?
3901 West Elkhorn Avenue, ELKHORN in Visalia.
There we go.
This is, we forgot to type it.
Don't fly.
That's why you're checking it right now. See how loose it's looking.
Okay.
And 0.5 is what you
I will go 0.25, 0.5. If you can't find enough comps, I'll expand it out to a mile, but you want to do the ones right around the house first. Those are your best comps, if they fit, because you don't just do everything right around the house. We're gonna put in some parameters.
Do you ever use the active or only pendings and close?
I don't use actives, because they're useless until they sell.
Especially if they're
Only
workers.
on sold, but you sold and pending.
Sold and pending. I mean, you can put in active, for a seller, it's gonna show them what their competition is. But that's it, but it doesn't help with comps. Appraisers don't use actives at all,
So we're just doing closed and pending?
close and pending.
So no adjustments right now. We have 17 properties that sold or are pending within a half a mile radius from our subject property.
So if everybody okay,
Mhm.
everybody set on this, we know what we're doing. Ksenia, are you
Yes.
caught up, babe?
If we click on both of those, mine won't stay lit.
You hold the command button,
Oh,
or if
okay.
you're on a PC, the control button.
Got it.
Okay, so we've already got the radius search, so we don't need to do city, county, zip code, area, anything like that. We're not gonna put in price because we want that to give us the price. We're not gonna plug that in. But we are gonna do approximate square footage, so you're gonna click on that. And it's 22 something. So we're gonna, what was it, Jackie, 2260? 2276.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna go, let's do everything from about 1,800 square feet
Mhm.
to about 2,500.
Seven
See,
homes.
now we only have 7. Now we're down to 7. And then we're gonna do your belt,
Okay, yours was in 06.
06. So let's do 2000, 2010.
Whoops.
Does, so the year actually does play a role in the value of the.
Absolutely.
Yes.
You can't comp a 2006 house with a 1980.
And you cannot use a new construction against a house that's even just 2 years old.
Don't use new construction. They won't, they're not gonna use those. It's not a good comp.
How would you comp a new construction if it was like?
You don't comp new construction.
Unless you're representing a builder, but other than that, no.
We don't comp them because we don't sell them. I mean, we sell them but we would never be a listing agent on a new construction, so.
Rarely.
Like I said, I'm.
And if a buyer asks you, Rebecca, like, how do I know it's worth this? It's probably not because it's new construction, but they said, there's no negotiating with them, so it's either you want it or you don't. Yeah. Okay, everybody there?
1,000 to, what was it? 20,000.
2010. I don't start putting in pool and all this kind of stuff because we're gonna adjust for all of that. I just, really all I want is the square footage and the year and the area. So that, now we're at it. Okay, so let's see what the three are, Jackie.
Mhm.
Okay, so this one is right down the street from us. Gunner, that's that one that they had the open house. It's pending. This thing is basic inside and it sounds like I'm an emotional seller, but it's not nearly as good as my house or as good of a floor plan, but it's similar. Look, it's built in 2006. It's 2,094 square feet. It has a pool.
It's only a 2-car.
It's a 2-car garage. So that one's pretty good. What about this one on Fulgham? But we're assuming that one sold for $475. We're assuming because it's pending. It hasn't closed yet. So the one on Fulgham, a little bit newer, a lot smaller, no pool, 2-car garage. Okay, and what about this one on Rialto?
Oh, details.
Right around the corner, 2 years newer, a little tiny bit bigger, and it has a pool.
And
And
the
it-
RV parking. but not
RV
their car.
parking, and it's sold for $45, but it's only got a 2-car garage. So, okay, so let's go through and adjust. Which one do we want to adjust first? Let's just do this one since we're at it. This is probably the best comp for my house, just eyeballing it. I would say this one is. But so to adjust, you start out with what it's sold for, $485, and then we're gonna adjust for the differences. Okay, so it's a little bit newer, but it's 2 years. That's not gonna be an adjustment. That's pretty good. Just leave that alone.
In our current market right now that we're in, this sold in March. But let's say if this sold in December, how much would you adjust difference in price? because
Probably
of that
5%.
inflation? Okay, and that's just because of right now's inflation rate. But on an average, when we're on a normal market, you would have still kept it the same for the 6 month, right?
That's,
Okay.
yeah. So 2396. So we have a difference of 120 square feet, okay? And if you give it an adjustment of $60 a square foot, oh boy.
Why 60?
60 is what an appraiser is giving them.
Okay,
I just go off what appraisers are doing right now. So if you do 120 square feet.
I just do it because you said so.
$60, that's a difference of 7,000, so you would add $7,200. Okay,
Go over that again.
okay. So 485 is what this one, okay, what it sold for. So we've got to adjust for differences, either up or down. So the square footage, this one's 2396, mine is 2276. That's $120 square feet.
Okay, got
An appraiser giving $60 a square foot, so that works out $7,200 that you would add to the 485 because the subject is better than the comp. Okay, if the subject is worse than the comp, you deduct. This one does have solar, but
I
it's,
thought yours was a smaller one.
it is.
So
Oh,
you
you're right.
subtract.
You subtract. Sorry. You subtract. Sorry, Jackie. You're right. So we're gonna subtract 7,200 for the difference in square footage. Okay, now this one only has a 2-car garage and mine has a 3. But
Has
this one has RV parking, so the third bay of the garage is worth $5,000. RV parking is worth $5,000, so
that
that's a
cancels.
wash.
Okay.
So that cancels, so we don't adjust for the garage. This one has solar,
Leased, and yours is
Leased.
solar owned.
mine is owned, so
That's an adjustment of what, 5,000?
10
10 for owned and lease, they
When
don't
it's
give
owned
any
and
adjustment,
paid
right?
off. So we're gonna add 10,000 for mine, and leased is just a wash, there's no adjustment
The
for
first we're
leased.
minusing the 7,000 because of the.
Because my square footage is smaller,
So now we're adding 10,000.
Because
Okay.
my solar is better.
Do we jump to photos to compare the condition,
Or
or do you do more?
how, what are the
facts first?
bedrooms? The bedrooms are 4 and the bathrooms are 3. It's the same. So yeah, now let's look at pictures because we're gonna see what the condition is.
I want to see the pool, because we know your bathroom, you have a pool.
That's a nice pool. And they have a patio, just like patio cover, just like mine. That's good.
And they have the spot. Do they add extra when it's a spot too,
I
or
don't
is it
think
just
so.
lumped together?
Probably just, they might give a little bit more for a pool and a spa.
So yours has a pool too?
Mine has a pool. Mhm. So my
Not
floor
updated.
covering is way better than this.
Yeah,
But that, again,
they won't count that.
they're not gonna count it. So it's gonna help me as a seller. If there are two houses that are the same, my house and this house, and the buyer comes through, they're gonna see, oh, we don't want all that carpet. We want all the nice laminate flooring. So it'll help you sell faster than the competition, but the appraiser's not gonna give you any credit for that.
Your
Unless,
kitchen's updated.
yeah, mine is way better than this. So my cabinets are all painted. I have drop lights. I have a big eat-in granite. All my countertops are granite. My flooring is way better than this.
How much would the appraiser give? Like 5 or?
Let's keep going. Let's see what else we got.
Because your restrooms are also more updated.
Yeah.
Hey, Jackie, I got a question.
Yes.
Hey, so you know these adjustments that we're doing right now, like the 10,000 for the solar, the price per
Yeah.
square foot. Is there any way we can get a reference sheet later where we could go
Well,
back and
This
reference
is
those
where,
things?
yeah, and this is where we can get it a lot. We need to start saving, Luis, our appraisals, because that's where the adjustments are, is on the appraisals. And we can see what these appraisers are adjusting based on these appraisals. Every appraiser is going to be a little bit different, but they're generally about the same.
What if we did an appraisal bank?
We could do an appraisal bank and start and showing what the parameters are, Luis.
True. At least so we could have an idea, you know, I know it's gonna go very up and down depending on the appraiser, but at least to have an idea kind of where we have to be at.
Yeah, that's a
For
good
those
idea.
parameters.
We'll do that. We'll start doing an adjustment. So where are the bathrooms in here, Jackie?
I'm trying to get there. That master's dated.
Very dated. This is very similar to our house, isn't it, Jennifer? This looks very similar to the floor plan, but,
Yeah, those are easy still from.
okay, so
original.
I mean, they might adjust for for condition. I'd give it 5,000.
Mhm.
So add 5,000 for condition to the subject. Okay? So once you get all your adjustments, then you take the 485 and you're gonna subtract 7,200 and you're gonna add 10,000 and you're gonna add 5,000. And that puts my house value at 492,800. Is that right? 485?
Hey, Sarah.
Yeah.
Hey, how much difference are these? Do they slide if we're doing a $500,000 house? What if we're doing a $250,000 house?
It's about the same. You might adjust per square footage a little bit less, but I know for bedrooms, they're adjusting like 5,000 for an additional bedroom. And then they're doing about 8,000 for a bathroom.
Is it still going to be around 60 for the square foot?
Maybe 50 if it's a little
Okay.
bit lesser of a house, but about 50, 60, something like that. Mhm.
All right.
How much do you ever adjust between a single story to a 2-story? Or do you avoid those as a comp?
I don't really. I will just adjust if there's an extra because a 2-story are not as popular. You have a smaller pool of buyers, definitely a smaller pool of buyers, but if the square footage is about the same, but if they have an extra bathroom, it probably offsets the fact that it's a 2-story. So I don't really generally do that. Okay, so did everybody get to that 492,800? You got to that? Okay, so let's go to the other comp.
The single story or the pending?
Let's go to the single story.
We went to square footage.
Okay, now we're gonna work off of this 471. Okay? So everybody start with 470. And then what do we got different? Let's
Square
see.
footage is a lot smaller.
So the square footage is a lot smaller. It's probably too small of a comp to use, but we'll play with it just for the sake of getting through the exercise of doing this. So 2276 minus, what is it, Jackie?
1916.
1916.06. So this one is 360
Square feet.
square feet smaller. Okay? So we take the 360 times 60 and we're gonna add 21,000. I think this is actually oh no, I know which house this is. This is a good house. This was a good house, right around the corner from mine.
Sold in November.
Yeah, they got top dollar for this house.
That's that one artificial grass, right?
Yeah, this one had artificial grass all in the front and in the back.
Yours does too, though.
Mine does too.
They have at least solar.
Is this leased? Oh, yeah.
Property has leased solar.
Oh, yeah, it's a hot spot. There, where they live at.
The bedrooms and the bath are the same.
That's, so
Pool, so that's the other difference. This one has no pool,
we add,
But it has a
subtract,
spa.
subtract.
has a spa. Well, so if this one has a pool,
This one does not have it.
does not, and mine does.
So then this is a,
So you're gonna add, right? Because the subject is better. So you're gonna add 10.
Looks like RV parking.
It has a really good RV parking and a gate. And it has a big cover thing in the back. So that's a wash. The garages are a wash. Okay? Okay, Jackie, let's go through and see what else.
Wait, because your RV parking, they have really big RV parking, but there's less garage space.
Right,
It's a wash?
it's a wash because I have a 3-car garage and they have a 2. So that third bay and appraiser gives 5,000 for the third bay of the garage, but they'll give 5 for RV parking. So it's a wash. So this house is nice. It's got nice tile wood look floor.
And they did that pattern.
Let's keep going, Jackie. Let's see. Upgraded lighting. Oh, they got a bar. They put a bar and look at, they've got wine fridges in there. Granite, upgraded cabinets.
so does that add value to it? Or no?
And that's same as mine. Mine's upgraded cabinets and.
So it'd be a wash.
So it's a wash.
But if it wasn't comparable, then what are we talking difference wise as far as?
5,000 maybe.
So when you did your initial search on the quick search, you put the 3 things. It was the square footage of the house, the bedrooms,
The
and
age.
your building. Oh, the age of the house.
That's it.
So
So
that's,
just those 2.
yeah, and I still get one.
Yeah, she's
result.
getting
I'm just
completely
getting
different
one
results.
result. Okay.
Well, kind of-
Did you do pending and sold?
Yeah.
Well, your square footage is way smaller than what I did. I did 1,800 to 22.
Oh, 1,800.
And I did 18 to 25.
25. I was like
Okay,
25.
okay.
You can't make your parameters too small because then you won't find anything.
Okay, that
Oh, look at
backyard
this.
is more.
The backyard is
updated than yours.
spectacular. Yeah. That
It's a
natural-
larger house. The spa's a tiny spa, but that covered patio,
Yeah.
how much would you adjust for that backyard? Would that
Oh, look,
offset
it's
the
got a
pool?
fireplace and a TV and all that. I would adjust 10,000 for that backyard. That backyard's nice.
Yeah. it's like-
Okay, so the adjustments we have are at 470. Square footage is 21. What was the 10 for, Jackie?
The solar, your own solar,
The solar
and they have a better yard, backyard.
minus 10, but they don't have a pool.
They don't have a pool. So you would,
So you add to the-
would the backyard offset your pool?
Yeah. We'll take that off.
It's just the 21 and the 10 so far.
Right.
Yeah.
So that puts it at 491, 501. 501 is too high for my house. That comp is high. This house sold for a lot. It sold for a lot. This was a high price. They got top dollar for this house. I don't feel like my house is worth 500, but we'll put 500 because we're doing 3 comps and then we just have to pick which is the best comp.
So let me ask you this, if it's, this is, I mean, is that based upon opinion or is that based upon as far as what you think the appraiser would say, when you look at like comparables in regards to the numbers?
I'm just doing it from my opinion.
Okay.
But when you're presenting it to a seller, you're gonna say, look, these are the three comps, this is how I adjusted them, and I show them on a sheet how I adjusted. And then and then I'll say, I think this is the best comp. Of course, it's their house, they're gonna love it, right? And so right now, we're between 492 and 501 for sales price on my house. Okay, all right, so let's go to the third one. So now we're gonna go to this one on Elkhorn.
So would you call the agent before you start using it as a comp to ask what they went pending for,
I
or
would.
would you do it after? you
No,
got
I
your
would
numbers?
probably call him if I wanted to. But let's pretend it's sold for 475. That's the escrow price. Okay, so what's gonna be the first thing we're gonna adjust for? Yeah. So we're gonna do square footage. We're gonna do garage,
Solar.
Cool.
solar. This one's got a pool. Has the same number of bedrooms and bathrooms
And then condition.
and condition. Okay, so let's start with square footage. Guys, go ahead and figure it out. See if you can figure out what the square footage adjustment would be. In fact, just do all the adjustments and let's see what you guys come up with. Let's just see. And again, there's no right or wrong. It's opinion, but you want to try and be as careful as you can about what the adjustments are.
Solar. And what's the adjustment for garage and RV parking? 5,000
5,000.
each, or just 5,000 collectively?
5,000 if you have RV, 5,000 if you have a third car garage. So like if in the sense you had both, would you give it a full 10 or no?
This
In
one
this
does
case, it
not
doesn't have
He
either.
doesn't have either one.
So we subtract the 5 because her house has a 3-car garage.
Subtract.
Would you add, right?
You add.
Add, sorry, yes.
Let's look at the pictures, Jackie.
Mhm.
If it was.
Pool is plain. Has a patio.
According to what Sarah was telling us, that if it's not owned solar completely, then it doesn't, you don't get no value whatsoever.
Yeah, because I know last one that I think we did was, I think it's Omaha had like they had their own solar loan, so is that like?
And does somebody have to take the loan or are they getting them the solar sold paid off?
But they were gonna have to take over
Then it's no value because there's nothing there.
Mhm.
The debt offsets the solar. So granite, I mean, no granite on the countertops, just this was the tile that was put in through the builder, just
Nice
original.
flooring.
It doesn't
But it doesn't match. See, here's that flooring and
It's
then
like
you have
tile and
Uh-huh.
and laminate, yeah, you gotta be,
together.
Yeah.
little weird. It
Little
was a
weird,
weird
yeah.
floor
Would
plan.
that affect the value of how we appraise it, or not really?
I would just take it into the overall condition. The bathrooms weren't upgraded,
It's
the
not
kitchen,
as.
nothing's upgraded, it's just super basic.
So I would be like add 5,000 to the commission.
I would probably add maybe a little more, 5, maybe 5, just do 5 to be on the safe side. Although if you were to go in and redo all this stuff, it would be far more than $5,000.
Way more, because that's really cool.
My kitchen was almost 20.
Yeah, exactly.
Sarah, how much is the toilet seat deduction? All the toilet seats are up in those pictures.
Yeah. That would be me not paying the photographer for that. Yeah, we don't like toilet seats up in pictures.
I'm pretty sure this, oh no, what was it? I was like, they use a drone, but it looked like it was cell phone photos.
Okay, did anybody get to a value?
I'll present that to the. I came up with 520, 920.
I came up with 505, 920.
That's what I came up with. 505, 920.
What I've got wrong.
So this is what I adjusted, Yasser. 10,920 for the square footage.
Added or subtracted?
Add, because the subject is bigger.
Yeah.
I added 5,000 for the third bay of the garage. I added 10,000 for the solar and 5,000 for condition.
Did we not include the pool?
That one has a pool. They both have a pool.
Yeah.
That's what I missed out.
Sarah's is a better pool, but it's still,
They're not
gonna give that much of a
Appraisers aren't gonna nitpick it like that. So out of the three, we've got one at 492, one at 501, and one at 505. So I would assume if I was gonna list my house, I'd list it about 499.
Yeah.
That's where I'd list it and see if we could get it, the value to go up and see if we can get it up to 505. But if they got 475 for this one, I'm pretty confident I can get 5 for mine,
At least.
at least, and maybe a little bit more. Okay. Did that make sense?
Mhm.
You guys have questions? Ask me
No,
questions.
that was super helpful. That was
All right,
perfect.
so between the three,
Yeah,
if you just simply you just figure on your own that.
I just kind of eyeballed it, which house was a little better. You know, that one, the single story was a single story, so you're gonna have a bigger buyer pool for single. Because people, you know, there's people who don't want 2-story houses. And so you're gonna lose some buyers for that. So I feel like a single story is a little more valuable. But they're all right there in the same neighborhood. I mean, right in the same neighborhood. So that one I would say was a little bit more than mine. And that was, actually, that wasn't the one that comped the highest. It was this one. But I feel like 505 is just a tad bit high for mine. And if I was gonna advise a seller, I'd say, let's stay under that 5 mark, go 499. Because if a buyer is searching and they only qualify for 5, they're probably not gonna go up to 510. They're gonna look at 5. And if we're at 505, they're gonna lose it. So at least they'll see it at 499, and then we just hope we get a bidding war going and work it up to 505 or 510. Because as long as you expose it to the market will correct. So that's why I leave my listings, like the one on Sandra. I listed it yesterday. I've already got one offer on it. I mean, immediately I got an offer. The first showing wrote an offer, but we're not taking that, and we're not gonna take that, and we're gonna wait, and we're gonna do the open houses, and we're gonna go through the weekend. And then we'll start reviewing offers like, you know, midweek next week or maybe Tuesday. Because you gotta give the market a chance to correct. If you don't expose it, it won't correct. You don't know how high it will go unless you get bodies in
And
there
you have to
to
give
look at
people
it.
a chance to see it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, the sellers start like, oh, we'll take that one. Unless it's something fabulous, like, you know, all cash, way over, they might want to, but really, you still want to see what you're gonna get and how the market's gonna work
Some
out.
people might not even notice it for a week, being
Exactly.
on the market, yeah.
Exactly. So that's kind of in a nutshell how I do comps. I'm happy to help you guys anytime you need comps. If you want to practice, we'll pick a property. I'll do my comps, you do yours, and we'll see how close we are and see where
This is gold. This is
where we
gold.
vary. But this is how an appraiser adjusts. And why it is so important is when you're talking to a seller, they'll do it by square footage. Oh, it's, you know, 200 per square foot, and mine's this and it's this. And then that's not how an appraiser adjusts. It's okay if things sell for more, but you really have to know in this market what the property is going to appraise for, because that is where you need to start, is where it's gonna appraise, and then see if it'll work up off of that. And then you also have an idea, because if something's gonna appraise for 2, somebody can offer you 3, but if they don't put cash or an appraisal gap guarantee, it means 0. So you've gotta know in this kind of a market where it's gonna appraise and when that appraisal gap guarantee is gonna kick in, right? It's super important to know how to weight those offers. Like I've had offers, one was 240, but no appraisal gap guarantee. One was 220, but they had a $10,000 appraisal gap guarantee. I only think that house is gonna appraise for 210. That appraisal gap guarantee is more important than that higher price if it's not gonna appraise for that higher price.
So that's, I That's always the tricky part in this market right now, because you try to figure out how you can be able to submit an offer
Yeah.
that's speaking from the buyer side of like thinking, all
Right.
right.
But you also have to, so you have to come about and asking that agent and try to get a read as to what their brain is thinking. Because mind you, if they're not thinking the way Sarah is thinking, they might fall for the 241 that doesn't have any gap or anything. So you want to gauge and talk to that agent to get a feel, find out where they're standing.
Because sellers see that high price and stars fly out of their eyes and they're like, oh my God, look at this offer. But there's no appraisal cap guarantee and we're gonna appraise down here and it's up here. And this is just this buyer's agent throwing something, but if it doesn't appraise, it means nothing.
And that's trying to understand that part of like what's gonna be the motivating factor.
Well, you
Reaching
gotta
out
call
to the
those
agent.
agents.
Know
So
the
you call those listing agents, and then what you're gonna say, Yasser, is, okay, what's really important to your clients? Like, you know, you almost gotta educate them without bossing them around, because I wanna call them and say, listen, dummies, you know, I'm doing an appraisal gap guarantee. Who cares if you have a 250 offer? I have a $10,000 appraisal gap guarantee. You know your property's not gonna appraise. But you gotta come out a little bit more subtly than that, right? You can't say that to them, stupid. You know, you just have to say, what do you think? I'll ask them sometimes, what do you think it's gonna appraise for? Let them be the expert. And if they say, well, we're thinking around 2, you know, my comp said 205. I already know, because I've already comped it out myself. And then I'll say, yeah, that's about what I was thinking. How many offers do you have with appraisal gap guarantees? Like, make them start thinking that way. You know, we've got an appraisal gap guarantee, we have an appraisal gap guarantee. They've got to put some weight on that appraisal gap guarantee. When we're back to a different kind of market, we won't even hear appraisal gap guarantees. We'll be back to other things, but in this kind of a market, it's not just about price.
It's the appraisal gap guarantee, that's what I'm always bumping into all the time.
That means more than the price.
Oh, yeah.
When it's
all-
selling for above appraised value,
You know,
absolutely.
with me, it's almost like I talk to my clients and tell them, how much money do you have?
That's it, you have to. I mean, these poor little buyers that have just enough money for their money down and they're closing and no appraisal gap guarantee, good luck. If they're under 250, good luck. You're gonna have a hard time with them.
Honestly, at that point, I'm almost thinking if they have a limited amount of cash, and correct me if I'm wrong, you almost want to, if they could qualify for down payment assistance to save money in their pocket, wouldn't it be better to go that route?
If they can do that.
Yeah.
I never tell people no, you know, unless they're absolutely like asking for closing costs, you know, it's like the worst scenario. But I will write offers for people, I will try, but I will encourage them to save money, you know, when they get frustrated, because they will, they'll get frustrated, like, we don't want to do this, but you know, why don't you take a little break and try and save some money? We can do the appraisal gap, because you've got to educate them on the appraisal gap and what that entails. And it's tricky because they think you're being pushy at the start when you come in and say, oh, you need this, this, this. But they'll lose a few. I let them lose a few and then tell them what they lost to,
And
why they lost, and then they start learning on their own.
It's always super important to ask when you deal with what was the winning offer, so that way you can share that with your clients.
Exactly. When they call, when I send out, you know, we have 10 offers and then I send out, sorry, the seller's accepted another offer. Thank you so much for, you know, all your hard work. This is what they accepted. So they know and they can tell their clients, because I want to be able to tell mine, we were so close. And when buyers are asking you like, well, what would you do? You know, it's tough to advise people. This is the verbiage I always use. This is my line. You know, they'll say, should we offer? I'll say, make the best offer that you feel comfortable with, because you may not get a second chance at it. You may not get a chance to, because if there's 20 offers and they take out the top 5, the rest of them you're gone. That you're not going to get a counter. And so I would say make the best offer you feel comfortable with. And if they'll say, well, should we go up 5,000? I'll just say, well, will you regret it if you don't? Like, if you don't go up, are you okay with that? If you don't get it, but if you regret it over 5, then you better go up that 5. Put it back on them. Can't make that decision for them. Okay?
Beautiful.
Any other questions? Any questions about anything else? No?
What's our next class?
Our next class is,
Are we doing it Tuesday or Wednesday?
we're gonna do it next Wednesday,
Okay, what time? 11?
11.
And what are we teaching?
I think we're gonna teach open houses.
Okay.
We're gonna talk about open houses, the strategy, what to do, how to identify buyers, sellers, and what the goal is.
So, actually, on this, can you give us a rundown of like, you said what each one is valued at, like, to add or?
Yeah, I'll work on that for you. I'll give you a ballpark on that.
We'll create a list and send it
I'll
out.
tell you who else comps just like I do is Chris Webb. So if you ever can't, like, if you're ever with Chris, you can pick his brain too, because he's great at how to adjust. He does it. He might even go into more detail than I do.
Actually, you did really well.
Oh, I did? Okay, good. I won't tell him you said that.
Oh, that's.
That's between us and all the Zoom.
And the recording that gets played out. And that's only if he goes in and watches it.
We're good.
You're gonna tag him in it.
Thanks, guys, for coming. And then we're just gonna keep circling through classes once we come into each class. So once we're all kind of comfortable with this, we'll start interjecting some other stuff. But we're gonna rotate through like 4 to 6 of them. So if you want to come back, or if you want a one-on-one, I'll sit down with you guys and chat with you.
Thank you.
And these will be are being recorded and they will be posted on our Facebook group. So if you're not on the Facebook group, reach out to me and get you on it. Like, if you haven't friended me on Facebook, or if you don't have your Facebook account, shame on you.
And
I'm
everybody's
pretty sure I have
coming
it.
to the open house tomorrow, right? Open house. So we're gonna do slider, what are we doing?
Pictures.
Well, we're doing pictures at 3.
Pastrami stuff,
Yeah, we're doing smoked pastrami sliders and chicken bacon ranch sliders, pasta salad, red potato salad, little brownie bites, and we're having a bar.
And I'm bringing tumbler. I thought
There we go. Yeah, great.
Perfect. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Sarah.
You're welcome. Oh,